Hello, good people. Happy International Women's Day. You know, every time you see me, interesting conversations here at India Onwards. Your host, Caroline Nyakazi. And today I'm not alone. Actually, it's an interesting day because with me are beautiful faces, beautiful ladies. We have Felicia Mburu. I want to get her name wrong. She would want me. Felicia. Am I right?
Yes.
Felicia and Sandra. So, welcome to Science TV, home of inclusion. That's always welcome our guests here. Actually, inclusivity is our daily blade. Yeah. So, welcome to this segment where we are celebrating International Women's Day, right? And before even go on with talking, maybe we can just do some brief introduction with Felicia, with Sandra.
So my name is Felicia Mburu and I am the director of Article 48 Initiative, and I'm also an advocate of the High Court of Kenya. In addition, so I always introduce myself with my sign name, which is Felicia. Sandra?
Thank you so much. My name is Sandra Of Udpk. I am a young woman with visual impairment. I work with United Disabled Persons of Kenya as a disability inclusion advisor. Really glad to be here.
Wow. Thank you very much for coming and for accepting my invite. I'm happy to have you today.
Thank you.
Actually, I celebrate you today being a Women's Day.
Yes.
So I'm sure most of the people out there, we've been celebrating this day, but I don't think we know the meaning of Women's Day.
Yeah.
Felicia,
Yes.
let the people understand why do we have International Women's Day every year.
Yes. So International Women's Day is about celebrating the presence of women on this earth as humans. We come with different identities. We can be mothers, we can be sisters, we can be cousins or whatever. But International Women's Day is about celebrating the actual presence of women in the working space. So it's not a lover's holiday. It is not a mother's holiday. It's just celebrating the fact that we exist as women, particularly in the working space.
Sandra, you can tell us how you understand International Women's Day. Yeah.
So in addition to what Felicia has said, I think for me, Women's Day is just celebrating those intersecting identities that women have. The fact that you can be a woman and still be from the indigenous community, the fact that you can be a woman and still be a young person, and just how all these identities, when combined together, bring out these great aspects of women, how women are actually able to perform like the different roles and still like the triple roles of women and all of that, just celebrating the diversity of women and their strengths in different aspects and especially in their workspace. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. That's so amazing. And so, Felicia, being women, not even looking to the whole world, just here home at Kenya, do you feel like we are being recognized enough?
Honestly, no. Being a woman in Kenya, there are a lot of cultural implications. There's the patriarchy behind it. We are never recognized, whether as a woman, a girl, a lady. We are really not quite seen. And the voice of women, especially women with disabilities, is usually silenced. So we need to do a lot more in this country to have the voice of women better recognized and making women more visible and seen in this country in decision making. Because remember, our constitution allows us to actually be, our constitution allows us to have public participation, Article 10 of the Constitution of Kenya. But then when you go to public participation meetings, you don't see women. True. It's always just men giving their opinions, and you don't even need to be a lawyer to participate in decision making in this country. So I'm here to encourage more women. Can we be involved in decision making?
Okay, now you remind me. There's a time I came across a job post. They were looking for a person to fill a certain position. And as part of the JD, I read this statement at it, male preferably. So I was like, okay, where are we heading to? So what do you have to comment about that? Because according to me, I was like, if I'm applying for this job, I'll just ignore I didn't see this.
Yes.
They are looking for a man. I'll apply for it. Even if I'm a woman, let me see. Let me face these men out there and fight for this position together.
Exactly, and that's what we are pushing for. Because while we do acknowledge and accept that the 2/3 gender rule applies, and 2/3 is not just we're saying 2/3 of women. We're also saying where we find that more women than men, then the 2/3 gender rule is also being broken. We need to add the number of men. However, when such job postings are published, you have to question yourself, like, why are they doing this? Because it's leading towards discrimination against Article 27 of the Constitution. Are we saying men preferred because is it the 2/3 gender rule, or because we're assuming that job can only be done by a man? So those are the things we need to interrogate a little bit more when we're talking about gender equality. Why are we choosing one gender over the other? Equality means it's not a competition. We're all the same. So whether it's a man, whether it's a woman, we are all the same. But what are our reasons specifically for creating a slight inequity? Is it because it's a job that can be done by one gender better or not, which is pure discrimination? Or is it because we're trying to comply with the 2/3 gender rule? But all researchers have already shown that in the Kenyan employment sector, we have less women working. So there's no point where we'll always say men preferred in a country which we are already 100% sure women don't get the job. And I'd encourage all women apply for that job.
Even if they're like, they just need a man, go for it.
Go for it.
So Sandra, according to you, what's the current position of women with disability in the society?
I think I'd love to retaliate on what Felicia has just said. When we talk about currently in Kenya, the status of women is still quite low, and this is in all aspects, be it the social aspect, be it the economic and political aspects. But now when it comes to women with disabilities, it now becomes twice as much discrimination, because and I know she's talked about the aspect of the economic spheres, and we have this whole conversation, and I know right now, and we've had topics of men saying there's a lot of focus on women empowerment, the men are being left behind, but we still have the narrative where men are saying they're looking at it from the point of it's an affirmative action, like we have not merited. Like when you have a woman who's at a powerful position, they're always like, it's just an affirmative action. That woman did not earn that right to be there. But then when we look at all these legal provisions that we have, even the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, it talks about the right to equality and non-discrimination of all people. It's an inherent right. You're born with it. You have the right to participate effectively in the society. You have a right. There's no discrimination based on gender. So when I look at it in terms of even access to services, when you're talking about the medical services, when you're talking about even aspects like right now, I know most government services have shifted to the e-citizen platform. How many women with disabilities are going to access that? Looking at context, looking at the diverse impairments and all of that. In terms of political representation, we had that whole agenda around, we have so many seats in the county assemblies that do not have representation of persons with disabilities. What does that mean for women with disabilities? You know, like all this stigmatization and all of that. When it comes to women with disabilities, then it becomes twice as much. Yes.
So Felicia has challenged us that even either you are a lady, you're a man, whatever position is being advertised there, go for it. But now my worry is, you go ahead and apply for this position, and then, okay, you go for the interview, but whatever the place you're going to is not inclusive. So maybe you're a person with disability, a woman with disability. So what's the solution to all this?
Under the Employment Act, and not just Employment Act, under the Constitution of Kenya, Article 54, it talks about reasonable accommodations for all, irrespective. So it's actually on the onus of the employer to provide me with the accommodation that I need to do my job. Because the idea is, no, not just giving me a job because I'm disabled, or because I'm a woman. You're giving me the job because I am qualified for that
Yeah,
job.
true.
Yeah. So it's not about ticking the 3% rule, making sure that we have 3% persons with disabilities employed. No. It's about, am I qualified for the job, and are you giving me the tools that I need to be able to do that job? Most employers will say that it is expensive. Actually, it is not. If you realize, when you put in systems that accommodate persons with their disabilities, it actually makes even work easier for those without disabilities.
Yeah.
So it's not expensive. If anything, it lowers the cost for you. A good example is the work from home. COVID was bad, but it taught us something, that we can work from anywhere.
Yeah.
And the productivity levels actually went higher. So accommodating people with disabilities is good for business.
Okay, thank you, Felicia. Thank you, Sandra, for that interesting conversation. And I say it's a great conversation. We can go for hours and hours talking about this. But it was good having you here and for sharing all that. I can say I celebrate you. You are beautiful ladies. Today being a Women's Day, I celebrate you. Thank you.
Let's continue inspiring inclusion.
Yeah, true. Yes. Thank you very much for coming. Yeah, that's what we had for today. Till next time. Goodbye.